Hello, can you guys hear me? Hello, can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Elvis. Hello? Can you hear me? Felix. Hello? Can you hear me? What's happening?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, how many are present in your face-to-face class?
Please, we were about 13.
13, and now you are 5 online, or not 4?
Yes, so they will be connecting soon. Some just went for a short break. So,
So we give them some 5 minutes.
yes, please, that's fine. Thank you, sir.
All right.
But currently, 5 may be connected online, but it's like we are about 6 here using my phone. Yeah.
Okay, so I think we can start.
Please, the 5 minutes is okay, please.
All right, that's fine. That's fine.
Thank you.
All right, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, so I think we can start. So for today's lesson, I want us to look at Windows file management. So let's look at the objectives for today. So after today's lesson, we should be able to describe how Windows stores files, identify the various parts of the File Explorer window, use the File Explorer window to navigate folders on our computer system, copy, move, delete, and then rename files. We'll create and use shortcuts. We'll search for files that we are looking for, and then we identify the various types of files that we have. So the keywords to note for today's discussions are: 1, application file. We will know what clipboards are: contextual tab, data file, disk, drive, executable file, file attribute, file path, file system, file type or file format, folder, library, and then pin. So these are the keywords. Then we'll also be introducing ourselves to what a recycle bin is, removable media, root directory, shortcut, subfolder, system file, tag, and then USB drives. So these are the key terminologies for our discussions for today. So we'll begin by looking at a file. So when we talk about files, what do we mean by file? So a file is just a collection of data stored together. So this collection of data that are stored together, we refer to them as file. And then for us to be able to organize our files, we need to store them in a folder. So folders are usually containers for our related files. And these folders are being placed on a drives. And these drives mostly are our storage devices. We'll be looking at storage devices, and then we'll look at the types of storage devices that we are referring to. So for this particular type of storage device is our secondary storage. So when we create our files, we store it inside the folder, then everything will be stored on a drive. And this drive can be a secondary, not can be, it will be a secondary storage. An example is the hard drives or the hard disk, and then we have the flash drives that we have. So these are the types of storage devices that we have. So our files will be stored on a particular drives. So these our drives, as we are saying, can be of any disk, which can use to store our devices or our files or folders, and they include removable media or the hard disks. So the removable media here is our flash drives that we have, or our memory disk that we have. So nowadays you see that a lot of people have some memory stick that they usually move around with. So those ones are the examples of the storage or the removable media. The hard disk, you can also remove it, but normally we don't remove the hard disks usually from our computer system. So these are the drives that are going to be used, or they are used to store our files. So removable disks, they are the one that you can insert or attach to the computer. So an example is the USB drives, the flash drives. So the USB drive is what we also refer to as the flash drives, and then the thumb drives, and then the DVDs. You know, the DVDs are now becoming obsolete. So even nowadays, computers or laptops that are coming don't even come with DVD drives again, disk drives again, because it's an obsolete technology. But in those days, all of these are examples of our removable media. So the CD, DVD, and then our flash drives, all are examples of removable drives. Then the term hard disk refers to the disks installed in the system unit. So when you open your computer system, there's one particular hardware component that we are referring to as the hard disk. So that one is inside the system unit, and that is what stores most of the program files or the programs that are being installed on your computer. And this comes in different sizes, ranging from many gigabytes to petabytes, that can be used to store a lot of data or a lot of information. Then we have an external hard disk. So an external hard disk is contained in a removable drive that you can attach to your computer. So you realize that some people have some small pack that they carry along. So that one is the removable hard disk. So, or we refer to it as the external hard disk. So you can carry the external hard disk, and then all your files can be stored in that particular external hard disk, or you can decide to store it in the internal hard disk. That's the one that comes to the computer when you purchased it. So Windows names the drives on which we store our computers by assigning letters to them. So all the drives, so we have the hard drives, the CD drive, and then the flash drives. So you see that when you open your computer systems, you will see that there are some drives that are being labeled. So by default, the one that is containing the operating system is named as hard drives, or the drive C. So the drive C usually is the hard drive. Then the remaining ones, they can have any letter that can range from D to Z, and then you follow it by a column. So this usually is being done by the system administrator when he or she is trying to configure your system or install the operating system in them. So by default, our DVD are named as drive D, and then the USB drives are named as drive E. So any additional drive that you install or hard disk that you installed will go and pick up the name drive F, E, F, G, up to the number of drives that you installed. So some of you realize that once you installed a drive, you plug in your flash drive, or you plug in additional drives, you could see that they usually start numbering them from drive F, G, H, and the rest. Is because that is the default name that Windows wants to use to be able to name your drives as they are being attached to the computer system. So Windows organizes our folders and files in a structure or in a hierarchy that we refer to as a file system, or it uses a file system to be able to organize our folders and files. Just like when you go to the hospital, you'll see that, or even not the hospital, if you go to most of the HR, you guys are doing HR, so you see that when you go to your offices, you realize that your employees, their record, you usually want to organize them in some hierarchy. So let's say the senior staff, their record are here, the middle staff, their record, and then the low, or those at the bottom, they also have their folders. And then you are just doing this so that tomorrow, if you want to look for a particular file, you can be able to quickly locate it. So with the computer system, Windows uses the file system to be able to organize these our folders and files in that hierarchy. So at the top of the file system is what we refer to as the root directory. And the root directory is where Windows stores the system files and folders. So once you create or once the Windows is being installed, it's going to automatically create this root directory. Then from there, this root directory will contain your system files and other folders that you are going to be creating as you move along. So folders are usually containers that contain files, but folders can also contain other folders. So when it does that, they refer to it as a subfolder. So usually we use folders so that we can be able, or we use the subfolders so that we can be able to store our personal files in them. So you could see that when you create your Windows or when you installed your operating system, the root directory is created, which usually is named as drive C, which is what is on our hard disk. Then from there, it creates other system folders. So you can see we have system folder, and then system folder. So within the system folder, you can go in and then create additional subfolders. Sometimes when you are installing some applications, the applications comes with some folders. So these folders have to be created within the system folder. So sometimes if you install some applications and it's not properly installed, you could see that there will be some folders that will be missing. So when that folder is missing within your system folder, then when you are starting your application, you'll be having a lot of problems or you can't even open it. So Windows uses the file system just to organize our files and folders within the system, and the top of it is the root directory. So from Windows 8, they've introduced a file explorer. So this file explorer is just a Windows 8 file management tool that you can use to organize your files. So there are some people when they have their machines, they create a file and then they don't know where they put that particular file. So when you are looking for that file, then unless you know the name, even if you know the name, some people don't know how quickly to look for that particular file that is stored or that you yourself have created. So there is a convenient way, or there's a file management tool that is being introduced in Windows 8, which we are referring to as the File Explorer, that you can use to be able to organize your file. So the File Explorer just displays the content of your computer. So it uses icons, and these icons represent your drives, your folders, and your files. So by default, Windows provides you with 4 folders once you install the operating systems. So these 4 folders that are created for you are the document folder, the music, the pictures, and the video. So I'm sure most of you have been seeing this. Once you create once you have your machine and then you've installed a new operating system, there are some 4 default folders that are being created. And these are the document folders, the music, the pictures, and videos. These are done so that if you have a document file, you can just go and then put them in your document folder. If it is music you put them under the music folder. If it is pictures, you put them under pictures. And if it is video, you put them in your video folder. So there is also a desktop folder. And this desktop folder provides you access to system resources such as the recycle bin. And then also there is a download folder where all the files that you've downloaded from the internet are being kept for you. So you could see that from the Windows 8 file management or the File Explorer, these are some windows or some folders that are created for you. So if you look at the File Explorer, when you launch the File Explorer, this is what you usually see. So when you open and then you go to your File Explorer, it's usually pinned at your taskbar, so you can see it, File Explorer. So when you open it, you see these are some component or some part of your File Explorer. We have the Quick Access toolbar, which is where some of the tools that you frequently use will be. You can click on this small down arrow here to customize your quick access toolbar. That is the folders that you frequently use. You can just go and then put them there. And then this is the address bar. So with this address bar, if you know the location and the name of that particular file, you can just launch your file explorer and then come straight here and then type the address to where it is, and then quickly it will go to that particular file location. And then these are the navigation pane. So usually when you do it, these are the folders that you see. You say we have the desktop folder, and this desktop folder will give you access to some of the system resource like the recycled bin. Then we have the download folder, which contain the files that you've copied from the internet. Then if you are connected to a network, or you want to form a home network, you come to this particular one. But since we are not doing networking, we'll leave this one. And then this one, this PC. So when you click here, it sends you to my computer or this PC, where you have access to the various drives that are contained within it. So by default, we said that it creates 4 folders. So these are the document, music, videos, and pictures. Then in addition, there are some 2 more, which is desktop and the downloads. So if you want to close it, these are the buttons that you use to close. This maximize or restore, and then this is minimize. And then this is the right pane for you. Sometimes when you click here, the content of whatever you have here will be displayed at the right pane. And then the status bar, you can just click on the status bar just to change the view of your document. So we'll look at the various components. So we said folder navigation. So you can use that site to be able to navigate to any particular folder or file that you want. So the most important thing now is for your folder. So we'll see how to create folder and then how to name folders. So when you select a folder navigation pane, the content of it will be displayed at the right pane. So as we said, if you click here, then this is the right pane. So this is the navigation pane. When you click on it at the right pane here, the content of it will be displayed over here for you. So to view the subfolders contain a folder, you click on the expansion icon. So this is the folder. So if you want this folder, you just click here and then the expansion, or you just double click on it and then you see the content of whatever is within the desktop folder or the document folder. You can also double click any device, drive, or folder in the right pane to display its content. So we have the library. So the library usually displays similar types of files together, no matter where they are stored, so you can access them quickly. So if you have your navigation pane, there's a particular place you go, which is the library. So with that library, wherever your file is stored, it can be in the drive C, drive E, D, or wherever it is. So once you go into that particular library, it displays all the various types of files that you have. So a contextual tab usually contains options related to the current task or the location that you are looking for. So now let's say that we want to use the file explorer and then we want to navigate to a particular file that we have. So if you know the location of your file and then the folder in which that particular file is stored and then the name, you can just use the file path, which will take you directly to where that particular document or that particular file is located. So the file path usually indicates where a file is stored on your computer by leading you through the folders and then the file organization of your computer or the file that you are looking for. So if you have your document stored on a drive E, which is a removable disk, once you put it in, let's say you have a flash drive, you slot in your flash drive, the drivers of your flash drive will get registered with the operating system. Then once it gets registered, it will be assigned an alphabet. So let's say that the last one is drive D. So the next one that is going to use will be the drive E, for your removable disk that you slot in. Then within that one, you have a file, but that file is put in a particular folder called Model 1. Then within that Model 1, you have another folder called Lesson 3. Then within that Lesson 3, there's a particular file called basics.doc. So this basics.doc is the document that you are looking for, or the file that you are looking for. So with this, if you don't want to go or be clicking, you can just go to the address space and then you quickly type in e:/model/lesson3/basics.doc. So if you have this address or this file path this way, what the various part represents are this. So the first one, which is the removable disk E, is drive E, and that is the drive name where that particular folder or that particular file is located on your computer system. Then the Model 1 is the top level folder on your drive E. Then you enter into the Lesson 3. So Lesson 3 is a subfolder in the Model 1 folder. And then you have the basic.doc, which is the full file name of the file that you are looking for. So maybe if in exam I ask you, or I give you a path of a file, and I ask you to explain all the various components of the file path, then you should know that the first one will be the drive E, followed so the drive name, and that one is followed by a column. Then the next one that will come will be the top level folder, followed by the subfolder. So even some people can go into the Lesson 3 and then create another subfolder inside the Lesson 3 before finally putting in your file that you are looking for. So sometimes you want to change the view of your file. So you can use the File Explorer to change the view of the content of whatever is being displayed. So we have the extra large icons, we have the large icons, medium icons, small, list, detail, tiles, and then the content. So when you go to, I think when you come here, that's where you can change that one. So you see that there are some 3 dots here. So when you open the File Explorer, this is where you can go and then change it. So we'll look at this quickly when we are done with the theory. Then to change the File Explorer view setting to any of the 8 views, you can use the View tab on the ribbon. So on your File Explorer, there's a particular, those long things that are known as ribbon. So one of the tabs there are known as the View tab. So once you click on the View tab, all the various 8 views here, which is this one, extra large, large, medium, small, list, detail, tiles, and the various ones. They are there that you can go and then change the content. So to switch to details view or large icon view, you can use the view buttons on the status bar. So you realize that this side here is the status bar. So this is the status bar. So these 3 icons is what we can use, that you can use that one to quickly change the views. So this is the ribbon that we are looking for. So this is the view. So when you click on the view, you can change the view settings of your Explorer window. So now, so as you can see, this is the large icon. So if you do it large, when you go to view and then you go to large icons, then this is how everything will be done. If you want it in a file format, then everything will be specified in this way. So at the top here is the address. So if I want this particular file open for me, then where I can get it will be e:/model/model/lesson/ then I have this name, which is sample. Since this is a PowerPoint, then I'll do it .ppt, and then I will go and then load that particular file that I'm looking for. Any question? Any question? All right, so now we want to see how we can manage our files. So you'll be working with files, and as you keep on working with files, they grow. And then once you have a lot of files, if you don't organize them well, you could see that one, it even make your desktop look very clumsy. And then it makes looking for that particular file that you are looking for very difficult in the next future. So it is usually recommended that you actually organize your files, group them into similar files. So similar files will be put into one particular folder, or you create a folder where you put all the files that are related to a particular job. So let's say that you are now in level 100, and then in level 100 you are doing about 5 courses. So you can create one root folder called level 100 courses. Then you go into that particular folder, then you create the various course folders. So you can say microcomputer application, that's the folder, intro to HRM, another folder, intro to company law, another folder. Then every document or every file that you are going to create that are relating to, let's say, company law, you go into that company law folder and then you put everything in there. Doing it this way helps you to be able to locate that particular file that you are looking for in the next future. If not, then you'll be asking yourself, where did I keep this file? And then if you are in a hurry looking for that particular file, it can mess up your whole day. So it is recommended that you separate your files into subfolders depending on the purpose or the subject matter of that files, so that you can quickly look for them whenever you are. So usually the recommended style or file management is this: you create a document folder. So maybe you are working, so you have pictures, you have videos, you have all that things. So maybe you create one called document folder. Then inside that document folder, you are going to create a course folder. Then you create a personal folder, then screenplay folder. So maybe as the class is going on, they give you recordings. So if you want to keep all your recordings in one folder, you can just create a particular folder and put those documents there. Then if you look at this course folder, we have created additional 5 folders or 4 folders that we are referring to: one as accounting folder, communication folder, HRM, computer literacy folder, and then we have the media study folder. Then if you have any file, any document that is related to accounting folder, you go into the accounting folder and then you put it in. There are some people that goes into this and then they create additional folders, and then maybe one is assignment, and then maybe some is exam, and then some are, let's say, presentation. So you create those folders and then you organize your files neatly in that order. So how do we create folders? As we said, folders are just containers where we can store files, and then we can also use the folder to store another folder. So before you create your file, you use the Explorer to create folders to contain these files. So you can use your File Explorer to create these folders. So folders can be created in 3 methods in File Explorer. So the first method is you use the Home tab on the ribbon. So you go to the Home tab, then you can create a folder there. Or use the shortcut menu. Then you use the third method is to use the Quick Access toolbar. So these are the 3 main methods that you can use to create a folder. So what do you mean by short menu? Usually shortcut menus are just menu that appears when you right click on an object on your screen. So you see that when you have any object, the object can be a folder, it can be a file, it can be an application. So once you right click on it, there's some list of commands that follows. So that is the shortcut. So usually shortcut menus usually list commands that you can use with the object that you have right clicked on. So if you right click, if it is a folder, then there's a place that will tell you open the folder, copy the folder, cut the folder, move the folder. So shortcuts are just a menu that appears when you right click on an object. So the method that we said you can use to create your folders. So we said there are 3 methods that you can use. So the first one is using it on the quick access toolbar. So you can see that there is a folder icon on your quick access toolbar on your file explorer. So when you click on this, then a new folder is being created for you. Or on your ribbon under the home tab, once you click on the home tab, you see that there's a new folder icon. You click on it and then this new folder will be created. So when a folder is created, by default it is named new folder, and then it is recommended that you name that your folder. We'll look at how to name it. So once a folder has been created, then the next thing for you is to organize your files into that folder. And one way that you can organize files into your folder is by copying and then moving the files. So you can copy or move the files. So when we say copying, what does copying mean? Copying places a duplicate of the file in a new location. So if I have a folder called folder A, and then there's a file in it called assignment, and then I want to copy it into another folder that I'm referring to as folder B. When I copy it, then that means that I'm just making a duplicate of that particular file. So that means that in this case, I'm going to have 2 files. One will be at folder 1 and then one will be at folder 2. So copying simply means that you are making a duplicate of the file into a new location. Then we have moving. So when you move a file, then that means that you are moving it from its current location and then you are placing it in a destination folder. So I want to move it from folder A to folder B. So when I move, then in this case, I'm changing the location of it. I'm not creating a duplicate. So when you move it, then you should know what you are doing. Usually this happens when you are using a flash drive, okay? So you should know how to do this. Sometimes you have a flash drive, you slot in your flash drive, and then instead of you to copy, which is to make a duplicate, you just move. So if you move it from, let's say, drive C onto your drive E, which is a removable disk, and then you misplace that particular folder, that flash drive, then that means that you have lost or misplaced that particular file that you have moved. So moving is just changing the location of it, and copying means you are creating a duplicate of it. So File Explorer provides several methods that we can use for copying and moving our files and folders. So some of the methods use a clipboard. So what's a clipboard? Clipboards are just temporary storage area where our files that we copy cut are being temporarily stored for us. So clipboards are just special memory areas that are being attached. So for us to be able to move, there are some different methods that we have. So the first one is use the shortcut. We say with the shortcut, you just right click on that particular file or folder that you want. So when I right click a file or folder, then you see copy from the shortcut menu. So once you click on that one, then that means that you are trying to copy, and then you go to wherever you want to duplicate it. Since you are copying, you are duplicating. Then you right click and then you paste. Then if you want to move, the same procedure you are going to use, but instead of copying, you are going to cut. So once you cut, then that means that you are moving or you are changing the location of that particular file. Another method that you can use is to use the keyboard shortcut. So with the keyboard shortcut, you are going to press the Ctrl plus C together on your keyboard. Then when you go to the destination folder, you press Ctrl plus V, and that will paste everything for you. So using the keyboard, you are using Ctrl C, but Ctrl C will copy the file or the folder, and then you go to the destination and then press Ctrl plus V. Then if you want to move it, then you are going to click on the file that you have, then you press Ctrl plus X, and that will copy or that will cut everything, and then you go to the destination and you say Ctrl plus V. Then the next method I can use to move your file is using the home tab. So on your home tab, you click on organize group, then you click on copy to button, and then you click the location, then you click choose location to open the copy item dialog box, and then you navigate to the destination folder, and then you paste everything there. You use the same method to move it. So in this case, you are going to click the home tab, organize group, then you click the move button. So this one I'm using the move button instead of the copy to button. Then you can also drag. You can also drag. So with the dragging, you just click on the file. Whilst you hold down the left mouse button, you move or you drag your file or the folder to that particular location. The same thing also happens when you want to move it. Then the last one is right drag. Use a mouse, point to the file or the folder, press and hold the right mouse button, and then drag the file or the folder to the new location. So these are the methods. So I'm sure if you go home, you can just try some of these ones. Just create a folder and then try to right drag and then see how it will copy and then how it will move. Any question? Any question? All right. So deleting files and folders. So you should periodically delete files and folder you no longer need. So maybe you are HR people, so there is some stuff that no longer works in your department, and then there's no need keeping the file of that particular person. So the best way to do it is to just delete that file. But if you have a folder that stores the records of every employee, then you don't want that employee again. You just go there and then delete it. So once your folder is deleted, Windows will move the file from the folder where it has been deleted, and then it will store it in the recycle bin. So the recycle bin is just an area on your hard disk that holds the deleted files until you permanently delete them or remove it. So sometimes what some people do is, if they don't want the file, they just send it into the recycle bin. But mind you, the recycle bin is also a folder on your hard disk that is storing all the deleted items. So there are some people, they are running out of space, and then they say they needed a space, so they'll go and then delete, and then they realize that the item that they deleted, but still the space is still not is still needed. It's because you didn't empty the recycle bin. So usually your deleted files and folders will be temporarily stored in the recycle bin until you permanently delete it. So if you don't delete or go and empty the recycle bin, everything can be there. So if it is in a recycle bin and later on you realize that no, I need this file, you can go and then recover that file. But if it is empty, then if the recycle bin is empty, then there's no way that you can restore the item or the file or the folder that you have deleted. Naming files is very, very, very important. Every file that you create, you need to name it. That is how come if you don't name your file, by default, Windows try to name it for you. For example, when you create a folder, if you don't name it, Windows will create and will give it a default name and say new folder. So if you create another one, you don't name it, it will say new folder 1, new folder 2. But the thing is, if 2 years time you come back to that your computer and then you pick it and then say folder 1, what is folder 1 storing? You don't know it. That is why we are saying that you must name your the files and then even the folders that you create. So when you are naming it, the file name should be up to, or it can contain up to 255 characters. And then it should make sure that it can contain everything except some few symbols: / /, star, question mark, greater than, less than, or the slash, or not this symbol. Mind you, you can use these ones to be able to name your files, but you can use any other characters on your keyboard to be able to name it, except these few ones. So if in the exam I ask you to give me some symbols that you can use to name your file, you should remember these are the ones that I'm looking for. Then there are some naming conventions that we need to keep in mind whenever we are naming our files. One is use a descriptive. Yeah.
Yeah, please, a quick one. When it comes to deleting of files into the dustbin,
Can you talk a little bit louder?
when you come to deleting of files, when you delete into the dustbin, can you still delete from there, or you cannot?
Can you delete from where? The recycle bin?
Recycle bin. So when you delete from the recycle bin, is there any other place that it goes to?
No. So in the structure, the Windows create a file, a folder called the recycle bin. So when I delete a file, that file will be stored temporarily in the recycle bin. That means that I don't want it again. Then if that recycle bin, if you go and delete it in that recycle bin, then that means that you are telling the operating system that I don't need this file. So remove it completely from the computer system.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm asking because there are some, should I say hackers or IT guys who normally, even when the thing is deleted from your recycle bin, they can find a way to retrieve it or something. I don't know how to.
Yeah. So one thing you must note is this. When you buy a new hard disk, it comes fresh. There's no information stored on it. But then every deleted information, there's a term that they use for it, but I just forgot the term. It can be recovered. That is how come, if they call it forensic, I think I forgot the name, but with forensic auditing, they can go into your deleted hard disk. If you have a hard disk that you have formatted so many times, they can go in there and then recover those deleted files. But once you delete the thing, you as a normal person, not an IT expert that can go into it, you can recover it, except for forensic auditing purposes. And there are some people, before you even do forensic audit for your hard drives, you need a special permission. That's how come when they are doing some investigation, the court will grant that, okay, I grant you an order, go and do forensic audit in this particular organization. Then in that case, they will bring an IT expert who can go into those your hard disk. So usually, if they are doing investigation, when the BNI people come to your office, the first thing that they look out for is your computer, and then they pick the hard disk. So if there are some bad guys in the company, if they done something bad and then they want to cover it, all that they need to do is to go into the system and then remove the hard drive. Once the hard disk is removed, then all those things will not be traced again. But the thing is, every record, every information that has once entered into the computer hard disk can be retraced to forensic accounting of not forensic accounting, for computer forensics. They can use computer forensics to be able to go into it, go to the deleted items, and then recover all those information. But to layman, we cannot get access to those things.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right. So we said when we are naming our files, we should use a descriptive name. So the name that we are going to use should be enough to be so meaningful. It should be long enough to be meaningful, but short enough to be read easily on the screen. So sometimes when you are naming your file, you can decide to name your file a very long one, but doing that thing is good, but sometimes becomes so difficult reading on the screen. So the rule of thumb is just use a very descriptive name. Let's say I've given you assignment 3. So in that case, you just have to name your assignment, maybe assignment 3. Then how do I identify it? So sometimes we advise that you use your index number underscore, then assignment 3. Then once I see it, I know this assignment belongs to this student with ID number, so, and it is assignment 3. Doing it like that helps you to be able to know what this particular file is. But one thing is that whatever that file contains, the name should reflect it. So if I have a file and then the name of the file, I'm doing investigation at GCTU, then I can name the file GCTU investigation. Then maybe I'm doing another investigation at GIMPA. Then I'll name that file also GIMPA investigation. So that next time when I come back to that file or to the computer and I want to work on GCTU investigation file, I know that, okay, this is the file that contains it. So use a descriptive name to name your files. Do not change the file extension. Usually, Windows use the file extension to be able to know the program that will be used to open your application or your file. So every document or every file that you create will have an extension. If it is document, it will be .doc. If it is PowerPoint, it will be .ppt. If it is Excel, it will be XLSLX. So those are the file extensions for your programs or applications. So do not go and change the file extension. If you change the file extension, the next time that you want to run that particular or open that particular application, Windows becomes confused. It doesn't know which application to use to open your file. So whenever you are naming, don't go and attempt the extension. The extension is the one that comes after the dot. So just change the ones before the dot and then leave the dot and the whatever is there. That one is for the operating system to use to interpret to know which program to use to open your file. So follow a pattern. Use a consistent naming scheme that is clear to you. So there are some people, or for example, if you go to UCC, for example, once you see the index number of the student, you know this student is doing education, is doing computer science, he has been admitted in this year. So you can also adopt the same naming convention. So maybe you are the HR manager and then you are working on a file that belongs to IT department. So you should have a naming convention that you can use to name everything related to, let's say, IT. So that once you see it, you know that, okay, this particular file belongs to IT department, or this particular file is for HR or is for procurement. So adopt a convention or a consistent naming scheme that you can use to be naming your shortcuts. You can create shortcuts. So in Windows, shortcut is an icon or a tile that provides a quick way to perform an action such as opening a folder or a file. So you can create shortcuts on your desktop. So maybe you have a folder called GCTU lesson. So since you are working and you are still student, you want to create a shortcut for all your GCTU programs. So you can just create a shortcut. So you right click, you say create shortcut on desktop, then everything will be there. So once you click on that shortcut, it takes you directly into that particular folder that you have created. So you can also add or pin a folder to the start screen so that anytime that you start your application, that particular folder will be loaded for you, or it will be, it will run. So you can create shortcut on desktop to access drives, folders, files, web pages, application, or other resources on your computer. So this is what we mean. So you see over here, a shortcut has been created. So background folder tile. So anything about background is here. So you just click here and then you go straight to that particular shortcut. Sometimes what some people do is that they create a file and then they don't know the name that they use for it, or they don't know the file name that they use to save that particular one. So Windows create a feature that you can use to search for those files. So you can use the search box in the File Explorer to be able to find that particular file that you are looking for. So all that you need to do is to just type a text that is associated with that particular file. So maybe you remember that you created a file, but you don't know the name that you stored. But you know that in that file that you are creating, there is a keyword called investigation. So in this case, you just go into the File Explorer, the search box, and then you type investigation. Once you click on file, it will go and then examine all the names of the files that are associated with that particular name, and then it will display it in the current folder and then a subfolder, so that you can just go and then look for that particular file that you have. So if Windows find a file whose file name contains a word with the search text you specify, it displays it in the File Explorer window. So you can use the search box in the File Explorer to be able to search for files that you are looking for if you don't know the location or even the name of that particular file. So we want to look at the types of files that we have. So the computer system that we have, or whenever you are creating, or let's say the computer can contain 3 categories of files. So the first one is the system files. And these system files are what is necessary for your operating system, or they are necessary for running your computer system. So sometimes if your system file is corrupt, then that means that you can't go, or you can't even boot your machine again. So what some hackers do is that they write programs that goes and attack your system files. So once they are targeting your system file, then that means that they want to render your computer useless. So system files are needed for running your computer, or they are needed for running the operating system. So when we started, I told you that the operating system acts like the school prefect of the computer system, trying to act as an intermediary between the hardware and the application that is running. So on top of the system file, we have the application file. So these application files are part of the applications. Let's say the word processing, desktop, antivirus, and all those ones. They are the application files. So these ones are going to be used to run for our day-to-day activity or to enhance our productivity in the workplace. So word processing application is an example of an application file. Then we have a data file. Data file is the one you create when you are working with the application file. So when you are given an assignment, application file that you are going to use to create your assignment will be Word document. Or if you want to do PowerPoint, then you're going to use the Microsoft PowerPoint. So the Microsoft PowerPoint, the Microsoft Word processor, all are examples of application files. Then you have used the application file, and then you've typed your assignment. The assignment that you have typed in Word becomes the data file. So the data file now is what you are creating, and that is what we ask you to name using those conventions that we looked at. So many of our system files and application files are called executable files because they perform tasks automatically when we open them. So they are known as executable files. The system and application files are executable files. So these are the various categories of files that we have, and then there are various file extensions. So you should usually keep the extensions in mind. So you see the system files, they are the .dll, .ocx, and then .6. So anytime you see any file with this extension, know that they are system files, and basically they are Windows files. Then we have the application files. Application files such as .bat, .com, .exe, .app, .osx, .bin, .out, or .run. All these are examples of application files. Then the various data files we have are this. and then the data files are what we, the users, are having. So if it is a media, then we expect the file extension to be .avi, .mov.mp4, .jpeg, .png, .tif, mp3, .ma4, and the WAV. So these are examples of data files. So these ones are for video applications. If you are working with graphics, you look at the JPEG, JPG, .png, and then if it is sound, then these are the ones that comes with it. Then if you are working with Office, if it is a Word document, then it's going to be .doc or .docx. If it is Microsoft Access, then it's going to be .mdb or .accessdb. If it is PowerPoint, then .ppt or .pptx. If it is Microsoft Excel, then it's going to be .xls or .xlsx. So these are the files extensions. And we are saying that when you are naming them, you make sure that you don't touch this extension. Then if it is a simple text, you are using a text editor, then it's going to be .txt or .rtf file. For those of you who like to go to the browser uses the .html or the .18, and then the PDF. Most of you, the files will be converted to PDF before being uploaded onto the LMS. So if it is in the PDF, then it will be a .pdf, and then zip file. Usually use the zip file. It's a file compressing utility that you can use to compress your file so that you can have a lot of space to store a lot of your folders before you send across the internet. So these are the various files extensions we have, and this brings us to the end for today's discussion. If you have any question, the floor is open. You can ask your question. Any question?
Yes, sir. The JPEG, can we use it for, like, let's say, animations?
The JPEG are usually for graphics. So yeah, it can be used for animations.
Okay. All right.
Any more? Okay, so if no more questions, then I thank you for joining. I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.
All right, sir. Thank you very much. We really appreciate your time. We can't wait to have you again next week. Thank you.
All right, okay, bye-bye.
Bye.